I first met Troy through my friend Danny Sanchez, who I grew up with. We used to have a place down in Matawan. We worked in a factory line together. And he told me about this guy that came into a studio that was an independent movie film director. And he showed me this clip. This is like 3 years ago, and I looked at it. It was about the 80s. They wanted me to get involved a little bit, and I said, well, let me take a look at it. And I'll be honest with you, it really didn't look too good. So I said, Danny, I don't know, I think I'm gonna pass this time and move forward a couple of years. He's like, remember that film I showed you? He goes, well, he rewrote it. It's really got it together. He's got a good crew. I want you to check it out. He wants you to do a cameo. He wants you to play yourself. It's about these 4 guys or 3 guys that are going to a concert and strip clubs and 80s, everything that me and him used to do back in the day. So he said it would probably be fun. So I looked at the little clips that he did because they were almost finished with the film, and it looked really good. I was like, wow, he's got it together. He's got a good crew. The lighting looked great. The photography looked great. Actors were great. The writing was great. It was great, and I really want to get involved. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So we did a shot in the diner in Atlantic Highlands, and it was really painless. I just did it. It was like an hour, and I said, let me see it when you're done. He showed it to me about a week later, and I was very impressed. It was great, So we just wrote. I started getting the acting bug, and I said, I have this idea. I said, why don't I'm going to shoot Tesla next week at the PNC. Maybe I can get permission to go on the bus, and we can do this scene, and maybe you get kicked out and you're trying to stalk me, and because even though I come across like I'm going to help you in the scene, which you'll see, I really think he's a jerk off, and that's kind of like the theme throughout the movie. So worked it in. I got Brian, the founder and bass player of Tesla. He did a great job. Me and him did a little shtick together. And then my daughter had a graduation party at my house, and I'm thinking production value. All right, maybe he'll crash my kid's graduation party. Had a 80s band, like kind of like a tribute band that did all 80s metal stuff. So I said, why don't you have him come in and mingle with the crowd and do some kind of shtick, and we just kind of winged it, and it just really turned out. It was awesome. So that was done, and then a couple of weeks go by, and they were done with the movie. A couple of weeks go by, and I said, I'm going to see Enough's Enough and Great White at the Stone Pony. I said, why don't you come by? So came by. Next thing you know, he's schmoozing with Chips Enough, and they exchange numbers, and they start talking about the movie. I kind of pushed him to talk about the movie, and next thing you know it, Chip's pushing some of his songs up for the soundtrack. And then I started thinking, I'm like, Fly High Michelle, maybe we can get that in the movie. That would be awesome. That was like one of the biggest hits in the 80s, in the late 80s. And he had to re-record it. He ended up doing it, and we did this fantasy scene. And my friend Danny Sanchez, who plays Purple in the movie, came up with this idea to do some kind of fantasy scene, and it all kind of tied together, and it ended up being like a 20-minute extra add-on in the movie, that kind of involved me and Jesse and Creeper and his cast of characters. So it's definitely I just got the wheels turning and started thinking, and I really love doing it. And then I said, why don't we turn this into, after this movie is done, because it's a romantic comedy. It's not really about stalking the Weiss guy, which is me, in the movie and in real life. It's about this romantic comedy about this guy the wife goes away, and then Jesse's the ringleader to try to get this guy sidetracked from his wife because they think she's cheating, and so that's when they go to strip clubs and concerts and parties and everything else. So it really is a romantic comedy. So I wanted to go more rock and roll, and started talking about, I didn't want the movie to stop being filmed, but meanwhile it had to be done because there's a film festival that they got accepted in, and they were waiting for this extra stuff that we just shot. And just thinking, I just kind of couldn't get it out of my head. So I said, why don't we turn this into some kind of like an episode thing, kind of like, you know, Clerks meet the Trailer Park Boys, you know, because the characters are just like so awesome, so unique, so 80s, so rock. And with my connections with the 80s bands, I thought maybe we can get all these bands to do scenarios, you know, like Lita Ford or Dee Snider or even Ozzy or, you know, any of them, because I still have relationships with these people. I still take photographs of them. And it would be fun, you know, so there's nothing out there like it. So Troy liked the idea to explore that, but we're not even near even going into that. We're going to do the best. We hope to win the festival, first festival that they entered, which is March 30th to the end of March. The Garden State Film Festival at Asbury Park. So, you know, one thing at a time, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Excuse me, I don't mean to bother you guys, but are you Mark Weiss, the photographer, the Weiss guy?
Yeah, that's me, bro.
Hey, where was the Weiss guy?
That jerk off from the diner?